U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is stepping up its challenges to Beijing's maritime claims in the dispute-rife South China Sea. The National Security Advisor of the United States, Robert O'Brien, on Monday assured the Philippines and Vietnam, countries both locked in maritime rows with China, that Washington has their backs and would fight to keep the Indo-Pacific region free and open.
We've got the Philippines back when it comes to the South China Sea, and what I've said all along in my many interventions, whether it was at the ASEAN Summit in Bangkok or the Zoom ASEAN Summit that we just recently had.
Philippines and Vietnam are among the most vocal regional opponents against Chinese attempts to dominate the South China Sea and its disregard for boundaries outlined in international maritime law. China claims 90% of the resource-rich South China Sea, but Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan and Vietnam each claim parts of it. Washington has long opposed China's claims, and regularly sends warships through the strategic waterway to demonstrate freedom of navigation there. Beijing insists China is a force for peace in the region, and sees the U.S. presence as provocative and interference by an outsider. Mr. O'Brien said the U.S. stood with the Philippines in protecting its offshore resource entitlements. He told officials, "Those resources belong to the children and grandchildren of the people here."
The resources, the oil, the gas, the minerals, the fisheries in the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, those belong to your children and your grandchildren. They belong to the people of the Philippines. It's a patrimony of this great country, just the same as it is for Vietnam or Malaysia or Indonesia or the other countries. And we don't want to go back to an era where might makes right, an imperial era where one country, just because it's bigger or stronger, can come take the valuable property of another country. And we've got to stand up against that principle. I think the Philippines and ASEAN have taken a very principled stand, and that is the disputes in the South China Sea have to be handled according to the rule of law, according to international law, according to the UNCLOS, the Convention on the Law of the Sea. And so the Arbitral Tribunal ruled in 2016 that the actions of your neighbor to the north were improper and were not based in international law. And we think that arbitral ruling that was given by an impartial body, international body of jurists, must be respected by all the parties. And so that's what we're calling on China and all other parties in the region to do. So we gave assurances to the Foreign Secretary and to the Executive Secretary, the Cabinet Secretary, that the United States stands with the Philippines, and that's our policy. Well, look, nobody wants a war, and we don't want a war with China. In fact, we want great relations with the people of China, and we've said that all along. The President has said it. I've said it to my Chinese counterparts, and I've said it publicly. We want great relations with China. But China's in a situation right now where they're being increasingly aggressive and increasingly assertive. So whether it's India on the line of actual control up in the Himalayas, where Indian forces were ambushed and brutally killed by the Chinese, or